Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Good morning. Who said boy? I haven't even started yet.
You're not 90 yet.
Yeah.
Just wait for sitting down.
So while I have a lot to say about the commentary during our Torah service, I wrote an entirely different sermon. It doesn't count if my introduction to the sermon is extemporaneous, so you can't count that in my time. No, I know how many words is 11 minutes long. So what I do is I write an 11-minute sermon, and then I make up a beginning. And that doesn't count. So there is a phrase in our tradition, "V'chein shnei chetuvim machishim ze et ze, ad sheyavo hakatuv hashlishi v'yachriya beinehem." When you have two conflicting texts, you have to wait for a third text that will reconcile those two texts. I, on the other hand, believe that it's possible to hold two different feelings, maybe even opposing feelings in your heart at the same time. It's very possible for us to do that. And so it's in light of that that I offer the following commentary this week. And I tell you this from really my deepest heart. There's a kind of exhaustion that has settled into our bones over the last 2 or so years. It's been more than 2 years now since the latest round of conflict between Israel and the Palestinians has occurred. At first, on October 7th, 2023, our emotions were sharp. They were raw and overwhelming. Every new headline pierced us. Every siren, every report of rockets, every whispered hope for the hostages, it all landed with full weight in our hearts. But as the months have stretched into years, something else has set in. It's an emotional fatigue. We're wary of waiting. We're weary of watching. And we're weary of hoping. And yet at the same time, we feel guilty for even admitting that we're tired. Because we're not the ones living with this nightmare firsthand. We're not the ones in Gaza, desperate for safety. And we're not the hostages clinging to life. We're not the families waiting for a phone call of news that never comes. It's a strange paradox. We carry deep compassion and at the same time deep exhaustion. And then suddenly, a few days ago, news breaks. Maybe, just maybe, a deal is within reach. Hamas signaling one thing, Israel insisting on another. Lists of names are being drawn up again. Partial agreements whispered about. The agony of bargaining over human lives. It pulls us back into hope, back also into dread. Back into the relentless cycle of anticipation and disappointment. This is a roller coaster of the soul. Parashat Re'eh meets us in this moment with words that are both ancient and piercingly fresh. Ki yeh bivcha evyon me'echad echecha lo ta'ametz et levavecha v'lo tikpotz et yadecha me'achicha ha'evyon ki patoach tiftach et yadecha lo. If there is among you a person in need, don't harden your heart or shut your hand against your brother. Rather, you shall certainly open your hand. The Torah tells us and knows well how easy it is to grow numb. It knows the fatigue that hardens the heart, the distance that closes the hand. And it calls us across a millennium, don't shut down, don't turn away, don't give up hope. Our rabbis took that principle even further. Maimonides teaches in his section of the Mishneh Torah called Matanot Levyonim, gifts of the poor. He says, Ein lecha mitzvah gdola ki pidyon shvuyim. There is no greater mitzvah, there's no greater commandment, no greater obligation than to redeem the captives. He writes that it's even a greater mitzvah than feeding the hungry or clothing the poor, because captives face hunger and they face thirst and nakedness and danger all at once. You can't help but see the image of Evyatar David. Rambam tells us the mitzvah of Pidyon Shvuyim, redeeming captives, is the supreme test of our moral will. This is not just halakha. It's heartbreak written into Jewish law, because our people have always known what it means to wait for loved ones who may never return. We've always known the anguish of uncertainty, the ache of captivity. And so Rambam says, don't look away. But here is the dilemma. Compassion and responsibility are sometimes at odds. How many times in the recent months have we read of Hamas offering half measures, partial lists, a handful of hostages for impossible demands? How many times has the world asked Israel to pay the price of its own security in order to release a few? How many times has Hamas dangled hope only to yank it away? It would be easy to say, so easy to say, enough, no more, because we cannot bear the manipulation. But the Torah does not give us that luxury. Do not harden your heart. Do not shut your hand. Rambam's words ring, Ein lecha mitzvah gedolah. There's no greater mitzvah than this. So we live in tension. We hold on to compassion even as we hold on to responsibility. We pray with broken hearts for every hostage. We pray for the wisdom of leaders to negotiate. We pray for courage to keep our hearts open even when we're so very tired. I want to share a story, something small compared to the enormity of what we're speaking about, but it touched me deeply. A few weeks ago, I was speaking with a friend who asked, why is this taking so long? Why can't this deal be done already? And I found myself without words. Because the truth is, there are no easy answers. Every hour of delay feels like a betrayal of those still held in Gaza. Every compromise carries risks that are almost impossible to calculate. But what struck me most was not the question itself, but its tone. A tone of frustration, of weariness, of despair. And I realized that's what we're all carrying. We want to see an end to the suffering. We want closure. We want peace. We want healing. Even as this week we heard news of hostages that have been released who now go out on their own without the care of hospitalization. And the longer it drags on, the harder it is to hold on to hope. Yet here is what sustains me again and again. I see signs that our people haven't given up. That despite the fatigue, despite the despair, we still show up. Every Sunday morning in Central Park, rain or shine, there is a run, walk for hostages. Sharon and I have gone. It's not a huge crowd, nothing like the rallies that we saw this past week in Tel Aviv, but it's powerful. People show up with pictures of the hostages and T-shirts. They sing Hatikva, they run or walk side by side, mile after mile, carrying the burden together. And the feeling is extraordinary. It's empowering to know you're not alone, that others are carrying the same weight, that together you're lifting each other up higher and higher. It's solidarity, it's support, and it's resolve. I was learning a piece of Gemara this week. It says, Adam mesim atzmo et lichyav ke'even. That you have to make your face, it says, like a rock. It's such a strange piece of Gemara. Rabbi Eliezer is teaching us an incredibly important lesson that along with kindness and compassion, you have to have resolve to continue. Last week in Tel Aviv's Hostage Square, the Hostage Forum reported that there were 500,000 people who gathered for a rally. Over 1 million over the course of the country. Imagine that, 1 million people standing in the streets and saying, with their bodies, with their voices, with their tears, we've not forgotten and we don't give up. The Sunday walk in Central Park is a miniature version of that same spirit, a reminder that even across oceans, we're part of the same chorus. That fatigue doesn't define us, that hope is not extinguished, that solidarity itself is strength. And so as we watch the headlines flicker and we wonder what will happen next, we hold on to the words of the Torah, don't harden your heart. Do not shut your hand. We hold on to Rambam's teaching also in the same vein. There's no greater mitzvah than redeeming captives. We hold on to the power of solidarity, whether it's in Central Park or Tel Aviv or in every Jewish heart around the world. We hold on to prayer because prayer is what binds us, what lifts us up, what carries us when our strength runs dry. And so today I'm going to workshop for you a prayer for hostages that hopefully I'll use on the high holidays. Merciful, compassionate God, we raise our voices in fervent prayer for those held captive in Gaza, especially the innocent and the vulnerable. We pray for their safety and protection, asking that they be shielded from all harm, both seen and unseen. Strengthen their spirits, grant them courage and perseverance in their ordeal, and fill their hearts with hope for the day of freedom. We implore you to soften the hearts of their captors, that they may recognize the humanity of those they hold and choose the path of compassion, leading to the hostages' release in this wholeness of spirit and body. Inspire leaders and negotiators on all sides with wisdom, courage, and a sincere desire for peace. Guard their efforts towards a swift and safe resolution, prioritizing the lives and well-being of all held captive. May the bonds of captivity be broken, and may all the hostages be reunited with their families, experiencing joy and relief after a period of suffering. May we also pray for the people of Gaza, for an end to the violence and bloodshed, and for a lasting and just peace in the Holy Land. May your light shine in the darkness, and may your will for peace and reconciliation prevail in the hearts of all. Shabbat Shalom. We continue with Musaf, page 185. It's introduced by the Chatzi Kaddish on the previous page. Please rise.